Alright, anyone who watches my channel knows that one of my main goals is to save you guys money and help you look out for scams. I've fallen for scams in the past, even beyond the audio industry, but dishonesty and deceit of any kind really grinds my gears. With that said, we've got quite a doozy today. So, I was scrolling through the socials last night and this graphic popped up in my newsfeed. Now, when I show it to you, go through the points in the graphic one by one to see if you can spot the lies and dishonesty before I break them down. So leave a comment below if you were able to catch the problems with this graphic before I got to the point of actually breaking down the issues. Now, let me just say I did make the graphic black and white to hide brand colors because although I am helping you guys avoid scams, I'm not going to call out anyone publicly here on the channel. I'm not saying that I won't ever call out anyone publicly. I'm always trying my best not to, because as long as you guys know what to look out for, there's really no reason for me to call out a specific studio or person. Okay, here's the graphic. All right, like I said, let me know in the comments below if you were able to catch the issues with this graphic. So the first blatant myth in this graphic is, and I quote, "Pro Tools has a higher sound quality than Audacity." One of the crazy things about this myth is that this used to be more widespread, but recently it's died down because of how easy it is to find out how inaccurate this statement is. If you're an audio engineer or in the industry at all, it's a pretty easy one to laugh off because of how ridiculous it sounds and how ridiculous it is. However, if you're new to the industry, it can definitely fool you, but here's the thing. It's all just ones and zeros to break it down as simply as possible. What you record in one DAW will sound the same recorded in any other DAW. No one DAW sounds better than another. No one DAW has a higher sound quality than another DAW. That's just a flat out lie, and it sounds good for selling a Pro Tools course. DAWs are just capturing audio. It's all the same across the board. The things on the screen right now are what would change or alter the sound quality. And the whole sample rate bit depth .mp3.wave I just put in here because technically speaking, it does alter the sound. It's just that 99.9% of people wouldn't even be able to tell that the sound was altered in those cases. Also, effects processing and plugins are the only way DAWs really differ when it comes to sound quality, and not because the DAWs sound different, but just because the plugins sound different. Each plugin in each different DAW from a different company, they all have their own flavor. They all kind of have their own sound to them, so that would alter the sound, but again, it's not altering the sound of the DAW, it's the plugins. Long story short, Pro Tools doesn't sound better than Audacity. Audacity doesn't sound better than Adobe Audition. GarageBand doesn't sound better than Cubase. Cubase doesn't sound better than fill in the blank with whatever DAW you want. Honestly, it's just so amazing what people will say just to sell a course. Like, people will always find out you're lying. That's what gets me about things like this. You don't get away with something like this forever. So will it be worth it when people catch on to your deceitful marketing? Oh well. Anyway, I could go on and on and on about this one, and there are other things that I'm sure I missed here, but for the sake of time, let's just go ahead and move on. The next big myth in this graphic is that Pro Tools has a shorter learning curve than Adobe Audition. I don't even know where to start with this one because all of the experts that do what I do in the industry, plus most of the industry in general that isn't even involved in the audio side of things, knows this to be incredibly accurate. Adobe Audition, Audacity, Twisted Wave, which I've taught many classes on and also have courses on my website that you can find over at audiodoctor.tech, were all made with voiceover in mind. That immediately makes the learning curve much shorter in those DAWs when it comes to voice actors. They were made for voice actors. DAWs like Pro Tools, Reaper, Logic, GarageBand, those are all multi-track DAWs made for music production, sound design work, film and TV work, basically, in most cases, massive sessions with potentially hundreds of tracks. I used to work in Pro Tools all the time when I recorded music until finally switching over to Cubase, that I much prefer, but Cubase is just another multi-track DAW like Pro Tools, and Hans Zimmer uses it, just to drop a name. But my point here is I'm very familiar with the differences between DAWs, and everyone that does what I do, including the vast majority of the industry, whether it's coaches, agents, or whoever, suggest that voice actors stay away from multi-track DAWs like Pro Tools or Reaper or something like that. They weren't made with voiceover in mind and are way more complicated and convoluted for beginners to learn. At the end of the day, we're voice actors, and when it comes to recording voiceover, recording our voices compared to music production and sound design work and film and TV work, what we do is so incredibly simplistic compared to all of that stuff. Not only would starting out on a DAW like Pro Tools overwhelm and discourage you, but it's so incredibly nonsensical to even use for voiceover work unless you're an audio engineer who's been doing this forever and are working on large projects that include, mixing a spot together or something like that. Put it this way, for a voice actor to use Pro Tools to record voiceover would be like someone needing to walk 100 feet to their destination, but rather than just walk 100 feet, they instead go get multiple PhDs in physics and mechanical engineering and electrical engineering and designing an Iron Man suit from the ground up and then flying that 100 feet instead. All you're doing is recording your voice. It's overkill. Now, don't get me wrong, you can absolutely use Pro Tools or whatever multi-track DAW you want to record voiceover. I'm just trying to make it very clear for the majority of people out there that it will be much, much easier to learn a DAW that was made with voiceover in mind, like Audacity, Twisted Wave, Adobe Audition. And the cool thing with Adobe Audition is you can keep it really, really simple or get really, really deep. It's completely up to you because Audition is both a standard voiceover waveform DAW as well as a multi-track DAW like Pro Tools, if that's how you decide to use it. Completely up to the user. But let's be honest, the vast majority of people getting into voiceover don't find the recording, technical audio side of things interesting. Like, at all. It's a necessary evil to them. And I totally understand that. Like, I totally get it. People get into voice acting because they want to act. They want to get behind a microphone and bring characters to life, not nerd out about microphones or how to record in what DAW and does one DAW sound better than another? No, they don't care about that stuff. So why would you then push, learning in a multi-track DAW that's going to be infinitely more complicated? They don't want that. They don't want that, extra stress and hassle to figure out a DAW like that. It just doesn't make sense. And that's why the majority of people want to start with something really simple and easy to use and learn, not a spaceship. Again, nothing wrong with using a more complicated multi-track DAW. I know tons of people that use Pro Tools, and I know a bunch of people that swear by Reaper and love Reaper. That's totally fine if that's you. If you like getting into the weeds and you like customization and you like really getting under the hood to set things up, there's nothing wrong with that. But claiming that Pro Tools has a shorter learning curve, especially over a DAW that was specifically designed for voiceover work, yeah, that's just disgusting and a flat out lie. All to sell a course. Anyway, moving on. All right, so now on to some lesser problems with the graphic. As far as I'm aware, unless otherwise just released, Adobe Audition isn't free. According to Adobe Audition's website, Audition is $22.99 a month. Also, according to Adobe's website, their website states, no, Audition is available only as part of a Creative Cloud membership. You can choose a single app plan with Audition only or a plan that includes more apps. We offer Creative Cloud plans for individuals, students and teachers, photographers, institutions, and businesses, but I am willing to accept that maybe they just made a typo in the graphic because trying to say that Audition's free reaching that far is weird. It's really, really weird. So I think they probably just made a typo there. That's the only thing that makes sense. Anyway, who knows? And now another lesser problem with the graphic is used by pro audio producers. Now, I can't be that mad at this one because technically Pro Tools is used by pro audio producers and technically it is the industry standard still, but it's the industry standard DAW for audio engineers, not voice actors. If there was an industry standard DAW for voice actors, it would definitely be Adobe Audition. I mean, most of the voice actors I know use Adobe Audition. But Pro Tools is the industry standard DAW for audio engineers. So, it's a nice thing to have on a graphic because it sounds all important and everything, but it's irrelevant to voice actors. Not to mention a lot of pro audio producers use Adobe Audition. It's just choosing your flavor. Now, look, I get it, okay? I also have courses and services to sell and make a living from. There are definitely marketing tactics that we all use to help sell courses and services, but I made a decision long ago that I would always be truthful. And honestly, it wasn't even a choice that I actually needed to make. I just wanted to always be truthful when it comes to my content and courses and private coaching and everything in between, because I was raised right. Thank you, Mom and Dad. However, when you cross the line from strategic marketing to flat out lies, deceptions, and dishonest marketing, it really irks me. And that's me being polite about how I feel about it. Anyway, I hope all of you are able to avoid scams like this and really just any scam in the industry or outside the industry. If you're willing to, feel free to let me know in the comments below any scams that you've fallen for or better yet avoided in hopes of helping anyone in the comments section below. And when it comes to scams and one DAW to rule them all, well, you know what they say.